Hey folks, thanks for joining me. My name is Randy Howell of the Geek Missile podcast. Hey, Adam and I have taken some time off to prepare for Season 2. We want to thank you so much for all your likes, your subscribes, your comments. It means the world to us and we really appreciate it. We're getting ready for Season 2, so we made this best of for you. We hope you enjoy it. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
It's time for the Geek Missile podcast, broadcasting from somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. Now, here are your hosts, Randy and Adam.
Outstanding! Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to another edition of the Geek Missile podcast. I am Randy Howell.
And I'm Adamdieringer.
There he is. Yoda Dieringer, folks. Wow, what a great show we got lined up today. I are excited.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about and way too much time to talk about it. For you.
That's true. Way too much time to talk about it. So we should fix that. Hey, let's give them a rundown of what they're going to expect on this great show.
All right. So
go ahead.
Yeah. We wanted to do an update on Bushwick Bill. Touch briefly on that.
How about a big fat shout out to the Geek Mentality guys?
And we're going to talk about Dragon Con.
When is that coming?
It's coming in August of 29th through September 2nd in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Peaches.
And then we've got the Lake City Comic-Con, which is right where we live.
And we're going to talk more about that in depth later, but you're going to have to wait because you just get a taste.
Nom, 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 nom. Plague Tale?
Yeah, Plague Tale. Got to talk about that. Got to tell everybody why I was so wiped out the last day I was here.
And then update on a live D&D game with us, with the fans, the listeners. We're still working on it, but you'll get your update.
And then, of course, lastly, we're going to close out talking about the World of Warcraft update, the biggest patch in their history of the game in the last 15 years.
Wow.
It's going to be big.
Wow. That's a good name for their World of Warcraft. The acronym is WoW, and I just said wow. That's how excited I am. So sadly, as we mentioned before, Bushwick Bill was reported dead. Shortly after the podcast, we received... No, it was during the podcast.
He was reported dead, and we were like, oh no, and then we found out, oh wait, his son just came out and was like, no, he's not dead, he's currently fighting cancer in the hospital, and we were like, all right, well, we wished him luck and wished him goodwill. We went home, had a delicious spaghetti dinner, and read the news, and apparently he passed, and it's unfortunate, and it sucks, because, he was, don't it feel great to be a gangster? Like, that alone.
Yeah.
You could just go off that, but he did a lot more. But
if you're a fan of the movie... Office Space, then you know the song because it was a pretty big part in there. It was really well used in that movie. So our hearts go out to the family.
Yep, just wanted to touch back and give our condolences. But moving on to happier things.
All right, so Geek Mentality. So wanted to give a big shout out to these guys. They did a thing where they did 30 trailers in 30 days for 30 movies.
That's a lot. I don't have that dedication to anything.
That's a lot of dedication. The only thing I can do 30 days in a row is eat.
Right? That's it. I don't even spank the mank that much. I skip a day.
Wakey, wakey, hands off snaky. Anyway, so a shout out to those guys. If you want to check out his channel, go ahead and do that. What's his Twitter? Did we write it down? I don't know. Try at Geek Mentality.
It should be
on
Geek
Twitter.
Mentality.
But give those guys a look-see over. Pretty cool.
Very great openings. Made me laugh quite a bit hearing it. I appreciate the creativity and, of course, the cover art. I'm like, well, now I got to go make us something cool and finagled as well to go with our Geek Missile. We got to add more. Make a whole banner.
Yeah. So by 2025, you should see that. Okay.
Adam timeline included. Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon Con. Let's rip into this.
So, yeah, Dragon Con, apparently, it's been going on for, like, almost 70 years. It's been going on for a long time. Sorry, 50 years. I added a 20. Added 2 decades to account for me.
Another Adam timeline, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, me and timeline's not so good, but it started off as a thing where people would talk about board games, movies, and they still do that now, but now people are getting up there. There's like 300,000 attendees to this thing now.
Jeez, where's that at?
It's in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, Atlanta.
And I was gonna say, I was like, every time I think of Atlanta, Georgia, all I can think of is peaches and daughters, farmers' daughters. That's all I can every time.
Plantation owner daughters.
Exactly. Oh, and if anybody's seen House of Cards, like that's every time I think of Georgia, I think of House of Cards and Kevin Spacey.
I have not seen it.
Oh, it is actually really good. If you can, forget that anything happened in the last 2 years with Kevin Spacey. Just pretend it didn't happen. And you can
watch
enjoy
this,
the show. And
you'll
then,
like it. Yeah.
And then when you get to the part where he's cut out, you go, oh, yeah, because he did that thing.
With that dude. Well, that's fine. Okay. So, cool. So, we got...
Yeah, so Dragon Con, so the thing with it is people go there and a lot of cosplay. If you look up just the hashtag Dragon Con and look at the cosplay, there's some really cool stuff. So of all the Disney princesses, I've never been... Sleeping Beauty, or not Sleeping Beauty, but Snow White has never been my favorite. I always thought the really ghostly pale skin and the red lipstick was not my thing. But the cosplay I saw of it, well, I might kiss her from her slumber after all.
Oh, she was a pretty one.
They're like, I wonder how, I always thought that they should have been, the dwarf should have been more shocked at that whole thing. Like, she's dead. What are you doing? Oh my God.
All right. So he could be, we got Sleepy Doc and Necro and,
oh my God.
Pervy Dwarf.
Dopey, maybe? Yeah, Dopey. We love Dopey.
Oh, that we can't make fun of him. He's covered. So,
it's in the name.
He's a protected class. We can't make fun of Dopey. But Pervy Elf or what?
Yeah,
Pervy Dwarf.
Pervy's up for grabs.
Yeah, and Necro Dwarf or whatever.
Let's see.
Anyway, that sounds like fun, though.
It is. It looks like it's a blast down there. And any convention where people do cosplay, I always love it. Some people get there and they'll be offended by oh no, a female Batman. I'm like, what does it care? That's awesome. Or that person's too fat to play this character. I'm like, we're all too fat and out of shape to play the characters we love. Now, if I were to cosplay as Chris Farley, I'd be all right.
Yeah. So you fit right in. That would be great. So, maybe people focus more on the characters they're built for.
Yeah, that's what people tell people to do. The biggest thing that ever happens is when people accidentally, people do. I feel like at least half the time people do it with good intentions, but they're like, maybe they want to be like Afro Samurai, or they want to be Samuel Jackson's character from Pulp Fiction, but they're white, so they're like, I'm going to put on some dark makeup. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Never do that.
No, you can't do that.
Like apparently, either way, like I've seen it go the other way too, where people who were African or Black American, whatever ethnicity they're under, then they try to go white, and people go, you can't do that. And I'm just like, I wish people could just let people dress up as characters and know it was okay. But the problem is, since we had that whole
blackface
race, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, God damn it, guys.
Yep, I know.
People got to ruin everything.
It's okay to tie a string to my fat ass and then write Goodyear on the side of me. That's okay.
Hey, if we end up going to a con together, which I think we should, I think we could pull off some kind of easy cosplay just to kind of fit in with the crowd.
Well, that kind of leads us into this next bit, don't you know?
What if we told you we would be at a convention?
We would be.
But not Dragon Con. I'd love to go, but and if you'd like to fund the Geek Missile to be there at Dragon Con this year, and very quickly...
Just write us a check, man. We'll be there. We don't care. But Lake City Comic-Con coming October 19th. Kids, we're getting a booth.
We're getting a booth. Hold on to your pants. We're going to be there talking to people.
That's it. We're going to do a booth, and we're going to go live. We're going to do a live podcast from there and talk to people as they come through. Just have some fun, man. Just live it up and, have a good time with it. Come down and meet us. Join us. We'd love to see you. We may or may not have this camera thing worked out by then. So we'll see what happens. Who knows?
I was going to say, we'll figure something out. At worst case scenario, I'll find a way to rig a laptop or something.
Yeah, maybe that. Maybe we just have our phones sitting there.
It used to be that laptop cameras were kind of the pits, but now they're getting to the point where they're actually acceptable webcams, which is nice.
Yeah, and we've got a couple webcams laying around here in the studio, but why use that? That might work. So yeah, Lake City Comic-Con. If you guys want to, if you guys are interested, check them out. It's a pretty cool deal, man. You got a lot of people that come through there. It's going to be fun. You guys get to meet us and hang out with us, maybe even talk with us and be on the podcast yourself. That would be really cool to see you guys down there. So we'd love to have you a part of it.
Well, get something to put in your bag when you come by. There's lots of merchandise there. I know my favorite part of any convention is walking around and filling my goodie bag full of stuff. Sometimes they're like, hey, here's a free comic book. And I'm like, oh, yeah, comics.
All right, we'll take it.
I don't buy comics often, but man, if I got one to read, I'll read it.
Yeah. It's mostly pictures anyway, so that's great.
So the problem is I got too many toddlers in my life. I'm afraid of buying anything made of paper because they like to draw and rip anything that's paper.
And chew.
Yeah. Just
toddlers are like having puppies.
Right. Oh, my God. I think I'd prefer the puppy sometimes.
Yeah. Toddlers will go in their diaper, though.
You know, I haven't heard of any... I've never heard of a single dog that became Hitler. Not one. Not a single evil dictator that's a dog that I know of.
That's true. Yeah. Boy, you pointed that out. Thank God.
Right?
Yeah.
I think people needed to know. I think people were going around out there thinking that there's like Retriever Stalin out there starving countries.
You are nuts. Hey, I wanted to give an update too. On our last podcast, we talked about Stephen Baldwin coming to the Geek Missile Studios. Was it Stephen? Oh,
sorry, we meant Robert.
Robert Baldwin.
Stephen. We had Stephen Allen Joy coming as well, but he didn't show up either.
Yeah, Stephen Baldwin is the dorky of the Baldwin brothers, and Robert Baldwin is the guy I'm talking about. Thank you for the correction.
Also equally dorky.
You didn't let me go through the whole podcast saying Stephen, so that was nice. Robert Baldwin will not be here today. Guess what? He's sick. So he didn't make it, and we don't know when we're going to be able to schedule him back, if at all.
We hoped you would eat more chicken noodle soup and join us. You always know that even if you're bringing the plague with you, we still love you enough to have you here on the podcast because we like to hear everyone's opinions, even if we don't like their opinions.
That's true.
We could have political people here, but we won't because they're boring.
Yeah. Who wants to talk about stuff?
Stuff and things that affect us. Come on now.
That's dumb.
Now, if they said we're going to add a 500% tax to everything that's taco, I'd be like, okay, hold on a second.
Now it's time to talk.
Right?
Yeah.
That's important to me and important to our Geek Missile followers.
That is. Hey, speaking of Geek Missile followers, part of what we do here is we have people that sponsor us, and they help us. And we like to help them by helping you. Here's what I mean. Folks, visit our sponsors. The Pizza Pipeline. Greatest, what is it? What's the thing? Best pizza ever. It says
Best
it right on their
pizza ever.
website. Well, last time we were here, we had
Surf and Turf.
Surf and Turf pizza.
That was really good.
That
it was
awesome.
Super smooth. Shrimp and steak.
Yeah.
And it had this sauce. I can't remember what the sauce was. I just know it was good.
It was a garlicky, yum
it wasn't your
goodness.
standard sauce.
Very impressed with that. So take a minute. When you guys are trying to, everyone's got busy lives. Look, I know, man. Trust me. I've got 15 podcasts. I raised 32 kids. I work 17 jobs.
We're busier than a Robert Baldwin trying to get to a podcast.
That's exactly it. Listen, dinner can be hard. It can be tough. It can be time consuming. Call the guys at the Pizza Pipeline. Go online and order pizzapipeline.com. Save 20% off your online order. Guys, you're going to love the pizza. Maybe you do have a few minutes. Maybe you're out and about. You go into the bar at the Pizza Pipeline on Division Street.
You can watch them make it. You can lean in and through the kitchen.
They'll do it. They'll let you watch. They don't care.
They got nothing to hide. All they're doing is throwing good pizza ingredients together, and it's a quick trip out. And not to mention all the sides you can get from them too, like
the ribs,
rib tips, and chicken wings. Man, I'm like that alone. Sometimes I'm like, I love their pizza, but I could just get their sides.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if you get a drink from them, you get to keep the cup, which sounds like, well, what about... No, Pizza Pipeline cups. They're cool. They're plastic. They go through a million washes. I've had like 6 of them for 5 years now.
Maybe you're a college student, right? You can't afford dishes.
I lived like a college student. Yeah. This is where you go.
But you have to eat.
You got to eat, and you should probably wash something down with it.
Right. And so keep your cups. Now you've got a beautiful set of Pizza Pipeline cups.
Tell everybody that you have the Pizza Pipeline cups, including people at Pizza Pipeline, and tell them that you're sponsoring them by having the cups so they know that you get that pizza there.
Something like that, yeah.
We should get those cups for us, and then we should drink out of them all the
I
time.
have 2 cups upstairs. Would you like one of them?
We can product placement this.
I have a green one and a yellow one.
I would drink out of the green one if we were webcamming this.
Okay. Maybe next time we will, if we could ever get this to work.
We are going to figure out the cameras, but go there, go online, buy the pizza, 20% off, and if you go into the store, mention that the Geek Missile podcast sent you there, because that way they know we're doing our job, and they don't, fund another podcast like, Barney's Backyard Emporium.
Yeah, we don't fund them.
It's obviously we need the Geek Missile podcast support. So
that's what it is. Let's see here. We're kind of ripping through this podcast, aren't we?
We did. Well, yeah, we...
Tell me about Plague Tales, bro.
All right. So the night that I came in, I don't know if we did a show or if we just got stuck. We tried to do a podcast, and we got stuck on trying to fix the electronics. And I believe that had I been at full capacity, we might have been more successful. But I was so wiped out from playing a game. I got so engrossed in this tale, which is a Plague Tale.
We played the trailer from it.
We did. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, you play as this French girl whose name I suddenly forget because this was like 2-3 weeks ago. And you're out hunting and you're having a grand old time with your dad and little brother trying to find, or with just your dad, trying to find a boar, and your dog is out there and you're all having a grand old time, and all of a sudden things go amiss, and your whole house and estate, because you're a rich person in this thing, you've part of a noble family. Ugh. Things go terribly, and all of a sudden you and your brother are running from soldiers who are shooting arrows at children, which Jesus, they don't care at all. They're
mean people.
And I just want to point out, your children in this game. So the whole time you don't get a Rambo your way through this game. You're basically trying to sneak through and do as much as you can. And these rats that are carrying the plague aren't your normal typical rats.
They're not.
They're not just going to eat your pizza or teach Ninja Turtles kung fu in a sewer.
No, they've got plague.
They've got the plague. And whenever there's no light source to protect you, these rats turn into a wave that can consume people like piranhas in a couple seconds. And you try to blow out lights and throw rocks at lanterns, and the guards go, and they get eaten by these rats. And anyways, it's really intense. I spent way too much time, and I realized it was 6 a.m. before I was like, oh God, I need to go to sleep.
Geez.
So then I got up at 8 or 9 and came to help with the Geek Missile podcast and do my part, and I did not do my part well because I was tired. But
that's all right.
I will have to say, if you're looking for a game that is more story-driven and a little more scary, Plague Tale. It was done by an indie company whose name I forgot, and I feel bad for that. But they're really good. The game is cheaper than a normal game. It's like $40 or $50 instead of the usual $60. So,
well, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's worth the buy. And then you have a good time and avoid some rats, eat some cheese.
Nice, folks. For tuning in today, we do have a special guest for you. Robert Baldwin has come in. He's going to talk to us a little bit about some superhero stuff that we talked about last weekend, and he's got some information I think you guys want to know about. Robert, thank you for joining us, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It's Adam's pleasure.
It's always my pleasure.
It's our pleasure. Awesome. Let's not mess around with this. Let's get into this. So last week we talked about what superpower would you have and why. I said flying. You said you wanted to be a manimal.
That was my initial thing, and I realized after much contemplation throughout the week, I was like, I think I just get shot by some hunter, so I'm going to change up and retcon that to change to a new power here.
Okay, what's it going to be?
Telekinesis, that's mine. Just being able to lift and move stuff. Not even super heavy stuff, just even if it was just like limited to 50 pounds, I could make that work.
All right, so you're saying you would have a version of using the Force?
Yeah, essentially. Pretty much.
Guess.
Yeah.
Robert, what would yours be?
First, you either sound like you want to be a Wookiee or you don't want to have to get up to get your food. That's what it sounds like here.
You are not wrong. That is exact. I imagine just and just grab cheese sticks from the fridge from the living room.
There you go.
Well, yeah, if you could. Well, Thor does that with his hammer. If I could just reach my hand out and a beer shot out of the fridge and land in it, that'd be great.
Best power ever right there.
Could you do that with a stack of money from the bank? Just put your hand out and it flies around until it gets to your hand?
That was my thing, is I was thinking, there's some application here. The problem is, every time I get a power, I always immediately think of, how could I rob a bank with this? So I don't think it's a great... I'm, on the villain path already, because I don't think of, how could I help an old lady cross the street using this power?
So mine was flying, and of course mine was also monetarily based. So I thought, okay, after seeing it though, I was thinking, how would I use that to my advantage? I mean, if I stole something from a bank and flew around, they could just shoot me out of the sky. Right? I guess.
I mean, the good news is I think for a while you'd have easy going because people would be like, you did not see someone flying through the air like a bird. Like, I think you'd have some, until somebody posted on YouTube, but even then they're like, oh, nice green screen effect, bruh, fake and gay.
And
you know what?
Gotta deal with the fact you might hit a plane not paying attention.
Yeah, well, that's true. And I would show the hell off, so it's not something I would keep a secret. So
I think you'd be better off with super speed at that point.
Hold my beer.
What'd you say yours was, Robert?
Well, that's actually kind of a funny question, especially since right now I recently started a role-playing campaign with some friends who it's mutants and I can't even think of it. It's Mutants and Masterminds. It's the old game, the old MMO City of Heroes, City of Villains was based off this role
Okay.
game, and I actually just made a mutant that had essentially it was a mix of Gambit and Blink. I can teleport and charge objects.
That's pretty awesome. Like I would, and I loved that game.
Interesting.
Like when the servers went off, I cried internally because that was beautiful.
Same here.
So you could charge objects.
Charge objects, and I can teleport.
So it's like that guy who's walking through. Your phone is charged. Your phone is charged. That's what you're talking about.
No. I'm talking more blowing. You charge it up and blow it up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, that would be great too. Somebody's like, I have an iPhone. Zzz.
Well,
he does that in the commercial. Is that Captain Marvel? Or Shazam.
Shazam does that. Yeah, no. The power would be probably the equivalent of those Samsung Notes that blew up.
Okay.
You charge it and it explodes.
So you won't be able to travel on airlines.
Not quite.
I was going to say, but being able to teleport, I mean, just blink. I mean, assuming I don't know how far the blink range on that is, but that's still faster than walking for sure.
I have it at 500 feet, but it's completely accurate, and I don't need to see where I'm going like Nightcrawler.
Okay, that was always my one thing. I was like, what if he goes blind? He's just like, ah!
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. So now I'm questioning mine. I just fly around.
I just lift stupid objects.
That's okay. One of my friends decided he was going to create a superhero John Cena because your powers have to manifest a specific way.
Yeah.
He turns invisible by doing the hand motion, and then he's going to jump through a portal, use velocity, and just slam somebody. And when he comes out of invisibility, the sound's going to go off. That.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god.
Okay. So now I need to think about mine. I don't know. I don't know what it would be after hearing all this. I don't know how I would change it.
I think like I've been so happy watching all these different superhero movies, and also if you're in the anime world, the My Hero Academia is also another one that I'm just like,
all right, I'm changing mine. I got it. My superpower would be no matter what idea I had, it would give me $1 million. No, $1 billion.
Sounds like
That's
a
what it would
get-rich quick scheme.
get rich quick superpower.
Well, it would be. It would be. That's my superpower. Hey, I should start a lemonade stand. Boom, $1 billion.
You know, I never thought of putting a dirty lemon in water and telling people it was lemonade, but this is a $1 billion idea. This is.
That's it.
Make it happen now.
That's mine. I just want to be really rich. That would be my superpower. Would be really rich.
And the worst part is, I think about that too. For like, if I ever got famous or anything like that, I want to get enough money to be rich. And then everyone's like, "Are you going to keep doing it?" No, I'm going to go lay on a beach somewhere. Have a good day.
Yeah. See ya. I'm filthy rich.
Live for the memories. Have a great day.
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't you go get a different job? And then I just made another $1 billion. Hey, I got an idea, kids. Go clean your damn rooms. $1 billion. Every time I had a good idea, it was $1 billion, man. I love that.
Moms everywhere rejoice.
Yeah, kids cleaning their rooms. There's an untapped market.
That's
Make it fun.
Make it fun.
I mean, really, not being grounded, that's fun. I enjoyed not being I was grounded for like 6 years in between middle school and high school.
Yeah, I was grounded a lot too.
They took my books. I was so grounded, they took my books. I had nothing but a desk and a pencil and like some paper. So I started drawing, which you think they would have thought of too, but they didn't.
They didn't. Well, they got to give you something, a little bread and water and a pencil and paper. I mean, I think that's what prisoners have, don't they? I don't know. Well, what do we got on deck today? We got a good show lined up.
Well, as we were actually rolling into the superhero movies, I actually went and saw Captain Marvel this weekend, and it was actually pretty good.
It was a good one. You liked it.
I liked it. I thought the visuals were on point. I think there's always the one thing where I think sometimes they lean too hard in. Sometimes the superhero, and I guess it's all Marvel superheroes, don't take themselves as seriously as they're not as gritty as DC. So I guess it was one thing where she was kind of in this middle ground where she was kind of goofy but also serious at the same time. So it was kind of hard to get a beat on her as a character, but it was still good. I'm looking forward to seeing how she plays into the rest of the movies coming.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know that I have the drive to go see it, but I'm sure it'll come on free or something, and I'll watch it then. I don't know. Robert, did you see it?
I have not yet, but it definitely is on my list. I liked how, in the previews, they do show that she goes binary.
What does that mean?
Binary is her, I guess you can almost call it alter ego / superpower, because she absorbs so much energy. She gets that burning mohawk and just all out supercharged on power.
Oh, okay.
Like kids on crack.
Yes. Oftentimes, kids on crack will be like a superhero.
They think so.
Too many good and plenties. Oh, man. Burning mohawk.
That's funny. So you liked it. You haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
For the solo movies in the Marvel Universe, I'd probably put it in my top 5. Black Panther was my number 2, and the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire was number 1. And I fight people about that all the time.
Interesting. So last week we talked about, I think it was last week, we talked about Luke Skywalker from the original Star Wars versus Spider-Man from the Avengers movie. And I talked to Robert about it, and he was very passionate about his answer. So we posed the question again. Who would win in a fight? And who do you think it would be?
For me, I believe that if they were in a cage match setting, I believe that Luke would win only purely for the fact that he has a cut through anything sword, and if he just gets a lucky swing off, it's pretty much over. Okay. All right. Robert?
Well, you got to consider the fact you're going off of the original 3 movies, so 4, 5, and 6. That's a whole maybe 3-year span that he's had to practice, and he abandoned his practices throughout a good chunk of that. So when you actually take that in consideration, he is very untrained versus Spider-Man, who has the iron spider suit that reacts to protect Peter. And then you throw into the fact Peter is smarter, more tech savvy, which is what the lightsaber is, tech.
Interesting. Because Luke Skywalker is he's just a nerf herder, isn't he? I mean, what does he do on Tatooine? He was just that's technically it. They could have essentially replaced him with a group of corgis or Australian shepherds that would have done the same job.
And mind domination, that's like the parlor trick for a Jedi at that point, too.
Well,
look at me, I can make you say what I want you to.
Yeah, but look at his midi-chlorine level.
I was going to say, oh my God, that's right. I was going to say, and from what I've seen from that limited control is basically just to briefly make them, it's like passing a charisma check essentially. You just get them to basically agree, and then, but I haven't seen any extent where you're go, murder the president or whatever, and anything like that. It doesn't have any semblance of control. It's just, they can't, it's more of a passing. Agree with me. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't you agree? While shaking your head, yes.
And
yes.
When you start to dabble more into the dark side, yes, you can get as far as go kill a president, and they will. But you have to have a very high control of the Force to be able to get to that level. because you're literally pushing them against their will at that point.
Okay, so you're saying, so going back to the question, you're saying Superman would win.
Spider-Man?
I did that last time, too.
You
I
did,
said
too.
Superman.
I wasn't going to say
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Superman will win because that's just what Superman does.
Superman
Spider-Man would win.
Is an overpowered perk, and I hate him because he's
Yes.
too much.
Well,
Right,
he was, captain of the football team and homecoming king and all that. So,
well, quite literally, when all I think about is that whole song, anything you can do, I can do better. That is Superman.
that is, yeah. Okay, so Spider-Man, now that I'm with the conversation again, he would win over Luke Skywalker.
Hands down. The Iron Spider suit is adaptive to pick up on things Peter would miss, but that the key thing is the spider sense. That sixth sense that even as a young kid, we didn't understand it, knew when it triggered, he needed to move. And you can swing a lightsaber all you want. It's not going to help you.
So I have to admit, in our first roundabout before you came to interject, as it were, I forgot about the irons. I forgot about the suit, which is huge. I completely didn't even put that on the radar as something to consider. And that AI is crazy. So yeah, I can see that. I think we'd have to make it a more fair fight. You'd actually have to put him against the Tobey Maguire version, who was a little more incompetent, and maybe that would be more.
So those two would be more compatible than the ones I posed.
More of a fair fight, I think, but I overlooked it too. I completely forgot about that suit. Not to mention, I think he's actually more competent as Spider-Man. There's actually a literal skills floor that he's better at than Tobey Maguire, because Tobey Maguire was still stumbling all the way through all his movies.
So if we're going to stay with the first three movies, what if we did Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker?
That's only 3 years in, and he went to self-taught. I mean, if you actually look at it, he spent maybe, we'll say 3 months with Obi-Wan, maybe 3 months with Yoda, and the rest was self-taught. Which, I mean, that's like using...
He got his GED in Jedi.
The best way to put it, it'd be like... Jace Beleren from Magic the Gathering, before he got his memories, he self-taught himself, and he was good. He wasn't bad, but when he got his memories back and he became, he got the training he needed, he studied the way he needed to, it made him terrifying. That's why the older Luke is so much scarier. He went into isolation. He studied with the ghosts, and he focused, and that's where he got powerful.
Well, we don't see him. We don't know that he's powerful. I mean, we haven't seen it yet.
Not in the movies, but you do see it in the books.
We just, okay.
Oh, that's true. That's the part I always miss. Although I will say, when you see the stuff that his dad did compared to what he does, you're just like, God, the apple did fall far from the tree. You did not get the same drive and crazy ability your father had, because he was doing stuff.
Right,
and
yeah.
One thing to point out about the midichlorian level is, yeah, you may have an extremely high amount, but that's just like saying you have $1 billion, but you don't know what to do with it. Yeah, Anakin had it at a young age, but he never used the Force. I mean, he didn't know how to use it.
So he didn't, so he never exercised it and developed it.
Not until later.
Which is, and then Anakin did.
Well, and then Obi-Wan was too old to teach him how to do anything, really. I mean, he got him some basics, but he was too old to be like, hey, let's go stop some smugglers, or let's go do this, or anything. And there was nothing important going on to hone him to get him up to that level so fast.
He was just more dip and dive, that kind of thing. Yeah, if you ever get in a fight, dip and dive, you'll be fine.
Here's the basics. Move some stuff. Tell people that they should listen to you, and there you go. You got yourself a free cheeseburger. Yeah, you said I could have a break.
Okay. All right. So we were talking about Luke Skywalker and the Return of the Jedi coming back. He was more developed, but we said later, Luke Skywalker, the newer ones, I have yet to see him do anything. He just stands there in his bathrobe on the rock, and he's just,
basically with his Sunday paper, just, who's this kid on my yard?
Yeah, who's this?
Don't go in the cave. He hasn't cleaned it in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just saying, Yoda was the best part of that movie, completely. That one little thing where he got to jump in for a second, I was like, oh.
So we have yet to see him come back, but Rey,
yeah,
now she's all of a sudden she's more developed as an undeveloped person than Luke or Anakin ever was.
Hell, I think Flynn could have taken Luke to the cleaners at this point. I'm pretty sure that and he's not even. I think he's like what they call force sensitive, like the dude from the prequel was, the monk.
I would do that. Monk was amazing.
He was my favorite person in that movie.
Yeah, he was.
Him and the bounty hunter. I guess he technically wasn't a bounty hunter, but yeah.
So I want to go back a little bit. So you're saying that Return of the Jedi Luke could or could not beat Spider-Man from the Avengers?
Tobey Maguire?
Nope.
He couldn't beat any of the versions of the movie Spider-Man. Even if we looked at the Tobey Maguire one, yes, he was very aloof. But if we go off of the one where his body produced the webbing, there was a lot more that he had because of that version of Spider-Man. He was the Spider Totem, which he also had a venom prick on each arm that essentially could come out. We don't see it in the movie, but we can assume based off of which version of Spider-Man they did, he did have it. He just didn't learn it.
And what is? Now I'm curious because I actually missed that. What does the prick do? Is it like Black Widow venom, where it's like something like that, or is it?
You'll learn to use your prick as you get older.
Yeah, just wait. Sooner or later, it'll happen. It'll get hard. It'll come out. You look at it a second.
It's always just inconvenient. You got to tuck it into the top of your waistband. I don't know.
Until then, just play with your belly button.
But no, the spider venom that he has, it's a paralysis. Makes you stiff for an hour. If it lasts more than 4 hours, go to the hospital.
Seek medical attention. That's funny. So there's no incarnation of Luke Skywalker beating Spider-Man, is what you're saying?
Not the early versions, no. Later on, as he does study, he does progress, it could be a lot closer fight, just because of the fact the Force essentially can work the same as the Spider Sense. I don't think that it could necessarily block it, but I think it could make it to where it would be like a Spider-Man Venom fight.
Okay. All right. So we're going to pose this out to our listeners. Get on the horn. What do you guys do? It's the email, the Twitter, all that stuff.
The tweets and the Facebooks.
And get out there, kids, on your newfangled twitting machines.
Have you seen Split? If you haven't had the chance to see Split yet,
I don't think I have.
That's all about those multiple personalities. It's got Malkovich. God, I always forget his name. He was in Star Trek.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's good. He's real. He does a great performance there. And dealing with multiple personalities, he just shifts between a million of them.
Well, let's I haven't seen it, but I want to see it now. But my name is Randy Howell. Him, he,
and I am Adamdieringer.
You didn't say how you identify.
Who him was informally known as.
Perfect. So we don't want to offend anybody, so we want to make sure that you know our proper what are they?
Pronouns? I prefer to think of them as titles.
I am Randy Howell, him and he, and
I'm usually a Belgian waffle. I'm very sweet and have diabetes.
Welcome, Adam. It's nice to see you. I am thankful that you are a waffle.
I'm delicious.
I would agree. I don't know how to address you at this point now with that. Anyway, we got a great show planned, folks. We're going to be talking about more of the ninja feller, making his whole switch. We're going to talk about
Walmart removing game stands from stores because they depict violence.
Isn't that crazy?
They're keeping the guns, though.
Yeah, they're going to sell guns, but they're going to remove violent images. But you know what? That's all it takes. That will fix everything, won't it?
Congratulations. They've solved gun violence.
Oh, my God. I'm glad somebody stepped up and did it. It's so great that they did that. And now criminals are not going to go shoot up stores. They're not going to hurt people anymore. And we're going to live in this awesome utopia. I'm so pumped that they finally did it.
I just wish fast food places would remove their forks so I'd stop eating their cheeseburgers. Because that's all it would take, is if they didn't have forks, surely I wouldn't eat their cheeseburgers.
Oh, Adam, you've been excluded, my friend. They somehow did not address your disability. I don't know. But they did remove straws. So they are making... only in Seattle?
In Seattle, yeah. They removed
the straws. So thank God that they've made that step so that, the landfills are going to be empty now and not have as much trash. Yeah. And no more fish are going to get hurt with straws.
It won't be, sure, we'll still probably dump our trash in the oceans in some places.
We're not going to stop doing that. I mean, that's silly.
But there won't be straws in
There
it, so
won't
it's going
be
to be
straws.
better.
Right.
Now, if they had a breathing apparatus to get through the garbage, now it's gone.
Well, we can't fix everything now, can we?
And of course, would you rather? Of course, we can't. It's been such a hit with the kids and amongst ourselves that I feel like we've got a lot of topics to cover today.
Yep. So that's going to be fantastic. I'm excited about that. But let's talk about Ninja.
Yeah, let's start light. Let's pick
start.
up from where we left off last.
So Ninja, word on the street, he did not make this switch for money.
I mean, who would have accused him of it? Certainly not us. We wouldn't have thought it'd be for multi-millions.
No, it would not be for the check at all.
It's because Mixer, even though it had like 100th of the audience, was a very popular platform that everyone knew about before Ninja said something about it.
Right.
Of course.
Exactly. And there's no way that this was financially motivated. Not at all.
This is like if the guy who represented Coca-Cola, like if the Coca-Cola Bears went to RC Cola, they didn't go for the money for RC Cola. They went because RC Cola is such a great product.
Well, who's the guy from Verizon? The Can You Hear Me Now guy?
Yeah.
He didn't go to Sprint for the money. He went because Sprint has
So much potential.
that their network is so much better than Verizon's.
I went into a Sprint store once, and it was at least 10 feet by 20 feet big. At least the size of 2 closets.
How do they get that much room?
They're clearly doing successfully, so that's...
They're doing something right. But I'll tell you, the whole thing with Ninja, it was not financially motivated at all. It's Tyler Ninja, by the way. Tyler Ninja Blevins. He responded, folks. You heard it from his mouth. It was not financially motivated. You'd step off the world's biggest streaming platform and go to something that had 3% of the viewing audience, and not for money. You wouldn't do it for that.
No, of course not. No, this was all just to get a fresh. Well, we could call a fresh start would be that he just like changed his identity and became a different streamer altogether. But
no, it wouldn't be that.
So it's not a fresh start. What would you call it? I guess it's like when you move from. It's like if Bill Gates moved to Mexico and just settled down there, they'd be like, oh man, look at this tech billionaire who moved to this country. He didn't just move here because his money's worth more here. Certainly not. No,
not because of that. It's because of the authentic food.
Yeah, he went for the water, if anything.
If anything,
I've heard that they have the best Aquafina.
Now, is he going to take some time off while his new house in the Cayman Islands is being built, or?
He said that he likes to take his diamond helicopter out for joyrides while he waits.
Okay,
he invited a couple of us peasants to join along, but I just couldn't make time. I was too busy with the podcast.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting to see that this was not financially motivated, but. Good for him. I mean, whatever. I can't knock the guy for doing it.
No, you got to go where the not money is. You got to go where the not money is.
Yeah. Well,
you got to follow your heart.
You got to. He's doing it because this is his true passion.
And money. They told him to come over for free. In fact, they made him pay money to join.
You know what? This show is writing itself as far as the title. This is the Sarcasm Show. So I just want everyone to know when this appears on Monday, it is known as the Sarcasm Show. You can find it at anchor.fm/Geek Missile.
Sarcasm Missile.
Or on YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube is our newest growing platform, getting upwards of millions of views. The ticker's not right. They'll tell you it is, but it's not.
It's not.
Oh, and also I was going to say, so I kind of get... well, actually, I didn't get. I was kind of trying to think of it. You're more business savvy than I am. We've acknowledged this in multiple conversations. I guess that when he announced he was moving to Mixer, Twitch deleted his page. Like, he didn't close it down. Like, they straight up deleted it and went... And it was kind of cute. I thought the picture was like your ninja is in another castle, and then underneath it they've got a bunch of other streamers who also stream Fortnite on Twitch.
So that would be similar to the Geek Missile podcast is no longer going to be on Anchor FM. Never mind, we're coming back to Anchor.
Right?
So
nope, we're good.
We're golden. Yeah, that's... Well, you know what, though? If you're doing business with somebody and you declare that you're no longer, then services are cut off. I mean, right?
I mean, why? I mean, yeah, I guess. Oh, and I guess that does stop his. So people have highlights that can last up to 30 days from the videos they've played. So I'm guessing this was a way to headway the those video, because people would still watch the old clips on Twitch and use that. Although you think they'd want to retain the views even there on their platform, but maybe this is just to. They're hoping that if those clips aren't there, the people will go, well, I guess I'll watch other streamers and put money there.
Huh.
Yeah. Instead of going to Mixer. They didn't say where to go, by the way. They just said he's in another castle. So
Yep. Well, of course they're not going to say where.
for people who don't know, some people might just think Ninja died. Like they just go to Ninja's. People who aren't savvy and don't know how to use Google, which you'd be surprised at the number that is, might go there and go, oh my God, Ninja's gone. Where's his channel? All right, never mind. Guess I'll watch this guy.
Oh, I found him in another castle.
I'm going to watch Blow Joe number 74.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Joe Blow, but it was too, so I switched it.
It was too generic.
And then it sounded worse.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, now it sounds like.
Below Joe.
Yeah, you know, see, now
Joe
it doesn't
Blow.
sound right.
Yeah, that's so sorry, Adam.
I've made a mistake.
I don't know how to apologize to a waffle. It's hard.
Just maple syrup at the end of the night. That's all I need.
So that's what we've got on this guy. So he moves from Mixer. From the hell's the other thing?
Twitch,
and then they all of a sudden, you know,
bed's not even cold, and they move the bed out of the house, so to
yeah,
speak.
Yep.
All Ninja stuff is on the front yard of Twitch, and he's got to take it to Mixer.
It's funny because if you're paying attention to the headlines now, there's been a recent suicide. Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yeah,
killed himself. So it's kind of funny that when Ninja decides he's going to go to another platform, Twitch totally cuts off his thing. Jeffrey Epstein all of a sudden gets, he's captured, he's in jail, he's in suicide watch, he's in a federal holding cell and commits suicide.
Sometimes the guards you buy, and if we all know from the video game world, sometimes the guards just get up for no reason to have a coffee break, and they don't tell anybody they're leaving, of course.
Right.
Because with such a high-profile person, he just told him, hey, don't do anything while I'm gone. Don't worry, I certainly won't. And, we believed him. Of course he would.
Well, I mean, look, Jeffrey Epstein is a lot of things, but a liar, he's not.
Of course not.
No.
From what I understand, he was very truthful and upfront about everything he did.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Certainly didn't hide it.
So when they just left him a bottle of, and I believe the report says he overdosed on medicine.
Yeah.
Right, is what I was told.
Because prisoners always get full bottles of medicine to just have in their cell when they want to take it.
Exactly. So and that's part of the honor system that you have in prison.
Yeah, you leave them their pills. They're responsible adults, clearly.
Right, and
so
that's all based on the inherent credit worthiness of a criminal, right?
Yeah, that they'll take just what they need and put it back politely and go to bed.
You got to give people a chance.
And I mean, and I guess he looked too deep in his faith in the person and left the pills there. And oops, darn it, Jeff, you're not allowed to do suicide watch days anymore.
Yeah, he was relieved of that. He's probably doing the library now, working in the library, maybe laundry.
His grandfather actually was in charge of making sure the bookroom depository was clear, and he didn't. He took a nap instead.
Oh, is that when he was in Dallas?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he was.
Jesus.
It runs in the family.
It does.
Well,
what do you do? It's so
hire better help, I guess. I don't know.
So there's a bunch of stuff going around on Facebook right now with this flag. Like if you like the flag, it signifies that you're safe from the Clintons or something. It lets the Clintons know that you're on their side, something like that.
Oh man, I'm like
so stupid.
And it's funny because before I just thought, I always just thought, crazy old Bill.
Yeah.
And all I ever thought was, okay, he slept with the government clerk and some other people, and his wife's angry and she can't get elected president twice now. She tried twice.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm always surprised because I kind of thought that we got Obama, so we had our first black president, which was cool, and that was iconic, kind of a new break in the thing.
Look at us go, yeah.
And then I thought, okay, maybe we'll do another first, we'll go for a woman. Not the case.
No.
But now there's several women trying to get a spot this year, so
yeah.
Or when 2020.
The title's still open, so
yes.
they're all reaching for that crown.
I got to be honest, and I don't dip into politics that often, but Bernie is goddamn old. I think he's a Disney princess, and I'm fine with him on a personal level.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to die if he takes office before he can finish.
I think it's funny that all the people that complain about having old white rich people be in charge of supporting Bernie, but
right? Oh yeah,
I love sitting back and watching this. I wish I was a comedian because Trump gives a lot of material to comedians, but
oh yeah,
Bernie is one of them, is another one, and that lady from San Francisco, and of course you've got OAC, whatever, I can never pronounce her name right, but what a joke, dude. This whole thing is just up in arms. It's so ridiculous how stupid the political system has become in the United States.
Well, I guess I just don't. Sometimes I'm like, I want to know if people are doing things just for attention, and I think no publicity is bad publicity. I think is the way we've said sometimes.
No publicity is bad publicity,
or no publicity is bad publicity.
No, it's bad publicity.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Right, there's that, but then, yeah, I don't know, dude.
I guess. Look, I'm just saying, after all the sad things that have gone on in this country in the last couple of weeks, with all the shootings and things like that, I would not pose with a thumbs up with the orphan child for any reason for a photo op, even if the family requested it, because that's just...
It's ridiculous, bro.
I'm like, that. Who wants to... I would not want to look at that photo later. Hey, here's the guy posing with you. I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
This is not something I want in my... But that's it. I'm like I said, not super political, but these are things I see on Twitter every day, just scrolling through.
I know, right?
My voice actors for video games talk about these things. That's how I see them. Otherwise,
yep.
I wouldn't. I'd be completely oblivious to the world because I just want to do things that make me happy.
I'm in it, and I talk with my peers. I talk about it, but I don't really take it, at least to this forum that we're on now. I don't typically talk about this stuff, but with Jeffrey Epstein committing suicide in Suicide Watch, I just have to say, my God, did he really die, or
hire some better guards? This is a video game conspiracy I've ever seen one.
This is
the plot of a video game. Like,
yeah,
this is where you go. This is where some PI comes into the scene and he's like, I'm Detective Smith Johnson, and I don't think that this was a suicide at all. And then you've got to investigate a corrupt prison, and you're going to spend the whole game searching for clues. And
right, that's exactly it.
Then you got to shoot your way through G-men. That's what you'd call the
government
FBI.
men. Yeah,
exactly. And they're like, oh, you can't find out our secret. And then that's when you find out their secret. You find out about all this stuff.
Now you've got to make it out of the prison alive, right? You got to fight your way back out.
We've already made a game. We've made a blockbuster game based on a real event, which, we just don't have a Detective Johnson Smith guilty pants to look around and find people.
Well, that's the idea. You got to find it. Dude, he died in prison, committed suicide in a Suicide Watch thing.
Like, that's their whole job, is to stay up and make sure that he doesn't do anything.
You know that he was killed. I mean, how stupid is this?
Like, yeah, and the full bottle of pills. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I guess he took. Yeah, that's what.
And then, hey, do you have any water, or is he just spit swallowing all the pills?
Oh my God, so dumb.
I need a really tall glass of water for my full bottle of pills, or just one pill at a time. Maybe people are better at swallowing pills than me. For me, it's absurd because drinking one pill at a time, I'm always like, oh God, even with liquid. But some people apparently can just swallow a mouthful of pills.
Speaking of pills, did you take your metformin today?
No, I'm glaring at it across the room, but my tea's too hot to drink it with.
All right, well, just don't forget about it, dude.
I got you.
All right, brother.
This has been a Geek Missile production, and it was almost professional. We thank you for listening.